Tonight, fears Port Pirie's Near-Star smelter could be a ticking debt time bomb and taxpayers could be left with the mess. And EP residents welcome a proposed multi-million-dollar Sleaford Bay seawater desalination plant.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. An international stockbroker is urging investors to ditch their shares in Near-Star as the metal giant's price plummets, leaving a cloud of doubt over the future of Port Pirie's lead smelter. South Australian taxpayers could be stuck with $291 million in debt if the company goes under.
The debt-ridden Belgian-based corporation Near-Star is falling into the red, placing question marks over the future of its lead smelter in Port Pirie.
From our viewpoint, what we need to hear from them, I guess, is what's the impact on Port Pirie? What are the issues? Is there anything the South Australian government can do to try and protect as many jobs as we can?
It follows speculation over the cutting of 100 jobs from their Port Pirie site and another 12 in Hobart. South Australian Treasurer Rob Lucas told The Advertiser that the Liberal Party will do all it can to protect $291 million in taxpayer funds that we have swinging in the breeze.
Clearly the company can't sustain long-term a global share price, which has tanked to the degree that it has over recent weeks.
The CEO of Near-Star will be flying from Zurich to Adelaide on Monday, where he'll meet with the Premier and Treasurer to discuss the future of jobs at the Port Pirie smelter. Near-Star stocks continue to plunge on the European markets, with international stockbroker ABN AMRO calling on its investors to abandon ship. Its shares have dropped from €4.5 to just 63 euro cents.
If they can't pay their debts and if the worst comes to the worst, well then we have to stump up $291.25 million from the taxpayers of South Australia.
Jeff Brock has called for calm, assuring confidence in the Port Pirie plant's future.
But from a processing point of view, Port Pirie site is going to be a cash positive for them.
Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
A 48-year-old Corn woman who allegedly ran over a fellow townsman with her car has today pleaded not guilty to her murder charge. Adriana Tennant appeared in the Port Augusta Magistrates Court, standing accused of murdering Nathan Freer in November last year after an altercation between the two parties. Her plea was met with outrage from the victim's family, who called her a liar across the courtroom. The matter will now be referred to the Supreme Court in December. A Whyalla man has been arrested and charged over a stabbing incident at a Whyalla Stewart home earlier this week. Police were called to an O'Day Street property just before 7:30am on Sunday after reports of a man with a stab wound to his back. The victim was flown to Royal Adelaide Hospital, where he remains in a stable condition. Yesterday morning, a 34-year-old man walked into the Whyalla police station and handed himself in. He's been charged with an aggravated count of causing harm and was refused bail and will appear in the Whyalla Magistrates Court at a later date. SA Water is ramping up plans for a desalination plant on the Eyre Peninsula. Hearing from the region's residents at some open days, it appears the community is all for boosting future water security.
Talks are getting serious about a desalination plant forming part of the plan for Eyre Peninsula's water security.
It's good to get a bit of background information about desalination and what the future holds for Port Lincoln's water supply.
This week, SA Water held 2 community open days to talk about and answer questions on proposed plans for a multi-million-dollar desalination plant at Sleaford Bay.
We're at the point in the program where we really want to hear from all residents across the Eyre Peninsula and get some feedback and ideas from them.
Concerns over local water supply and quality has long been a hot topic in town, so the development of a new water source is welcomed news.
The desalination plant was needed a long time ago. It's critical.
I certainly am aware that water is the most precious resource, and here in Port Lincoln we need to seriously look at that.
Others say while it may be needed for water security in the summer months, experience from owning a personal desalination plant showcases potential risks.
It's a horrible thing to use. It needs lots and lots of maintenance. It costs a fortune. One of the things that's interesting is to think about how many litres of diesels it takes to make a litre of water.
More open days will be held across the EP in the coming weeks at Cow, Woodner and Ceduna. Casey TRELOAR, Southern Cross News.
Port Augusta residents will have to wait a little longer to see 500 submerged shopping trolleys lifted from the water after the crane tasked with the job reportedly broke down this morning. The breakdown forced the council to postpone the removal of the sea trash, which was due to commence this morning. It's understood the trolleys belong to supermarkets positioned near the water's edge and have been building up in the water for at least the past few years, posing a serious safety risk. Council is hoping the trolley retrieval will resume by the end of the week. A man who mocked newly elected Port Augusta councillor Sunny Singh in a racist video has looked to make amends, meeting him in person. Corn-based truck driver Grant Moroney was the man behind the widely condemned video which surfaced online last month. He met Mr Singh to apologise for his actions and congratulate him on his positive election results. The Indian-born councillor says he fully accepts Mr Moroney's apology and hopes the two will stay in touch. The Army has all but finished the first stage of Operation Binbar near Whyalla. Officers have been at the Kultana training facility undertaking exercises similar to what they'd face on the front line. John Hunt has this report.
The first part of Exercise Binbar is wrapping up at the Kultana training base near Whyalla. Cadets were put through their paces this morning in a simulation focusing on clearing a village of enemy combatants.
The platoon had intelligence that there were enemy operating in this village, but they weren't sure where, and then they proceeded to do a deliberate clearance.
Our platoon commander was given responsibility for planning the operation, which included splitting into 3 and ensuring communication remained strong. Major FALLON says the exercise is similar to what they'll face on the battlefield.
Some of it does remind us of parts of Afghanistan, but there's also closely vegetated areas and then more open areas.
The cadets themselves are enjoying the practical side.
It sort of culminated in this opportunity to go through this building, which is representative of areas that we could very well end up in.
With the Kultana part of the mission successfully completed, attention now turns to Whyalla. The Army is set to head there over the coming days for humanitarian and peacekeeping operations.
They'll still have to keep applying a lot of the skills that they learnt and practiced up here, but now we're taking it into a new dimension.
At Kultana, John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, one of Australia's best outback pubs put up for sale. Welcome back. Homes in Broken Hill temporarily lost power last night as the city was hit with some wild weather. The Silver City sky was lit up by dozens of lightning strikes, some so powerful the mining town was plunged into darkness for a few seconds. Heavy rain fell throughout the afternoon and night, flooding streets. This roundabout on Gypsum Street was almost completely submerged. The outback town of Silverton received over 17 millimetres overnight, which turned the dry creek into a roaring river. No serious damage was caused by the storm, but it's good to see we're getting some welcomed rain. It seems there's no other tourism experience in SA quite like shark cage diving off the waters of Port Lincoln. Calypso Star Charters have taken home another swag of titles at this year's SA Tourism Awards.
Port Lincoln is renowned as one of the state's hottest tourism destinations. Much of it is to do with it being the only location in Australia to swim with these apex predators. And there's one operator that continues to be recognised at the top of the tourism stage.
Great to bring home a couple of awards and great to get some more recognition for the Eyre Peninsula.
It's the 4th year in a row Calypso Star Charters has won gold for adventure tourism at the SA Tourism Awards. They also won gold for the People's Choice Tourist Attraction. Fellow operator Adventure Bay Charters also picked up a silver award for ecotourism. But it hasn't been the easiest year, with a noticeable drop in shark sightings.
This year's been a tough year for us. It's not only the farmers that have their bad years. This year wildlife hasn't been as productive as it can be.
The industry, however, remains to be worth big bucks to the region's economy.
The Tourism Commission estimated last year that the shark cage diving industry was worth about $12.5 million to the state,
with a growing portion of that coming from overseas.
Is certainly growing. This year we're up to about just over 40% of international visitors.
As an added attraction, the local operator has recently opened a new public shark display. Casey TRELOAR, Southern Cross News.
Spencer Gulf and EP consumers and businesses are feeling less confident, according to a new Bank SA survey. The bank's newest state monitor shows our region experiencing its first fall since last July 2017. Business confidence dropped by 10 points from 112 to 102, while consumers fell from 119 to 116. However, Bank SA's Peter Panis says things are still looking pretty positive overall.
It is above the 100-point baseline, which means consumers and business are still confident.
There was a mixed result in the Mid-North and Port Pirie. Consumer confidence was up nearly 7 points, while business confidence slumped by a whopping 12 points from 115 to 103. New South Wales Greens MP and Murray-Darling advocate Jeremy Buckingham is being called to resign by another Greens member. Jenny Leong made a speech yesterday calling for her colleague to step down following accusations he sexually harassed a former staffer. She also alleges Mr Buckingham behaved in an intimidating manner towards her. Mr Buckingham has rejected the claims from his colleague, indicating he won't be resigning. He also said that the alleged sexual harassment in 2011 has been investigated and no wrongdoing was found. One of Australia's best outback pubs has been put up for sale. The Silverton Hotel has been a major drawcard for the heritage town for many years, but its owners are now ready to move on.
An iconic pub now on the market.
It has been as of Monday, officially.
For the past 9 years, Peter Price and wife Patsy have been running the Silverton Hotel. In that time, they have continued traditions, established new events and attractions, and advertised the region to the world. The venue has received numerous accolades during their time at the helm, including being named Best Bush Pub in the state. But now, as the couple enters their early 70s, they have decided it's time to move on. 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, they've loved every minute of it.
We've had 50 odd years in the workforce and we've done our bit, so I think the time has come where we need to probably enjoy a bit of each other's time.
But a price hasn't been put on the hotel just yet.
The idea is to put it out as an expression of interest for 30 days, and that's going to give the opportunity of the serious buyers to come and have a look and assess it.
Peter and Patsy say they're excited for the next chapter of their life, which includes finishing a home they started almost a decade ago. Their passion for the pub will still remain, but they say they won't be jumping back behind the bar.
Yes, we're going to have, little bits and pieces that say, oh, look, maybe they should do it like this or we did it like that. But the reason that when we moved on and in here, we did it our way, and I would like the opportunity for the new owners to come in and do it their way too.
In Silverton, Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Cadena's Victoria Park will be taken to new heights with the construction of an elevated playground. Standing at a whopping 9 metres high, residents will be able to walk among the trees in the town centre.
For 4 years, Cadena's Apex Group have dreamed big. Plans to deliver a treetop playground to the town's Victoria Park is now a reality, after the project was given a green light through the former state government's Fund My Neighbourhood initiative. $300,000 has been committed to constructing the elevated platform and spiral slide, which will rival the popular St Kilda playground.
Something different. It's a bit of it's a big piece of equipment. It's an expensive piece of equipment and it will be good, people will come and use it as such.
The giant playground will be a focal point for the town's centre. Its unique size and position above the canopy of these century-old Moreton Bay figs will be a serious tourist drawcard during the school holidays. And it won't just be for the kids. Mum and Dad are more than welcome to put their climbing skills to the test.
The project itself has a big spider net web. that's about 9 metres high, and then you go across the top on a bridge and then down a spiral slippery dip on the other side.
Tradesmen are working hard against the clock to have the mammoth structure open to the public before late December. If it goes according to plan, it will be a great vantage point to watch the Cadena Christmas pageant. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
That looks great. Well, stay with us after the break. We'll have the region's fuel prices, and in the weather we're in for some absolutely cracking conditions over the coming days. I'll have all the local weather details soon. Hello again. Now it's time for Fuel Watch. Here's Pat.
A reduction in the global crude oil prices and a strong value of the Australian dollar is seeing petrol prices all over the country start to tumble. Starting with unleaded, and as you can see, it's a great time to fuel up. Port Lincoln is out of the 160s and now averaging $1.57. Wyler is down by 2 cents, while Port Augusta has enjoyed a 4-cent decline. Port Pirie is now the cheapest in the Spencer Gulf, dropping by 6 cents and down to a very cheap $1.49. Cadena has also had a good week, now down to $1.51. Here in the Silver City, we're the only ones to not see any movement. We're still paying around $1.61. Adelaide is living the high life right now. City motorists are only paying around $1.27 a litre. To diesel now, and everyone is green again except for Broken Hill. Port Lincoln and Wyler have seen 1 cent drops, while Cadena has gone down by 3. Port Augusta and Port Pirie are both on the way down, but haven't seen any significant changes. Like I said, it's all quiet on the Broken Hill front, the average still $1.68. And Adelaide rounds out the board with a 4-cent decrease. And of course, remember that these prices are the regional averages, and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. Back to you, Abby.
Thanks, Pat. Let's check out what's happening in the weather now. It was a mostly fine day around the Gulf today. Port Augusta reaching a max of 28 degrees. The odd shower for Port Lincoln, 22 the max there. On the satellite, eastern SA is covered in cloud with a trough, which is triggering some showers and thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are heaviest in the northern parts of the state and are moving eastward with the trough. Western parts of the state are clear with a high to the south. On the waters for your Thursday, southerly shifting southwesterly winds are up to 20 knots, seas at 2 metres, and sunrise will be at 6:09. An absolutely stunning day around the Gulf tomorrow. Port Augusta sunny and 27, Port Pirie 26 the top. Taking a look at the 4-day forecast now, nothing but sunshine for the rest of the week. Cooler temps in Port Lincoln before temps rise into the high 20s by Sunday. Cleve sunny and 24 on Saturday before the mercury soars back into the 30s for Sunday. And Woodner again warm sunny conditions and a hot 37 degrees by Sunday. Sunny skies forecast over the coming days here, warming back up by the weekend. Port Augusta 31 for Saturday and 36 the max for Sunday. Wyler and Cadena will see temps climb into the 30s by Sunday too. And cracking conditions here, nothing but sunshine for Port Pirie, 34 the max by Sunday. Clare temps in the mid-20s before it warms up again too, and temperatures staying relatively the same in Broken Hill over the coming days, sunny conditions forecast. And that's the local news this Wednesday. I'm Abby Donaldson. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.